Is it possible that a global idol long regarded as nearly flawless, a symbol of onstage perfection, an icon of K-pop's discipline, has been quietly harboring a truth for years behind the glare of concert lights and the screams of tens of thousands of fans? A simple, human yet startling confession that he is nervous, afraid, and chooses not to be perfect. This question is not merely a sensational opening, but a gateway into a rare moment that left many fans silent, many critics frowning, and the global entertainment industry seemingly forced to look at itself in the mirror. That moment did not come from a grand stage or a victory speech, but from a calm interview with Rolling Stone Japan, when Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, finally spoke in a way he never had before. For more than a decade, the name Jungkook has been constructed as a narrative of wonder. He is the perfect magne, a main vocalist with near-mechanical stability, a dancer with military precision, visuals that meet industry standards, and a work ethic often held up as the benchmark for the next generation of idols. In the public narrative, Jungkook is not merely human, but an idealized representation. And precisely because of that, this Rolling Stone Japan interview feels like a small crack in a marble statue long believed to be intact. A crack that does not cause collapse, but reveals the deepest layer that had remained hidden until first. The interview was not released widely through official international media channels. It surfaced quietly, almost like a whispered secret, when the fan account @collector on X uploaded video clips and a full transcript of the exclusive interview. But as with many pivotal moments in BTS fandom history, something that seemed small quickly evolved into a global conversation. Thousands of likes, thousands of reposts, and a flood of emotional comments followed, not because of cheap sensationalism, but because of one thing: honesty. When Jungkook was asked about his mindset before stepping onto the stage, many might have expected a classic idol script answer about professionalism, thorough preparation, and confidence. What came out, however, was the opposite. In a calm tone without dramatization, Jungkook admitted that he gets nervous. Nervous like an ordinary human being. Nervous like someone fully aware that every step will be scrutinized, judged, and remembered. But instead of fighting that nervousness with an obsession for perfection, he chose an approach that feels almost radical in the context of K-pop. Enjoying the moment, even if a note cracks or a step stumbles. The confession sounds simple, yet its impact is extraordinary. In a single sentence, Jungkook shattered the myth that perfect performances are born from total control. He instead implied that freedom, even from mistakes, is part of art. In a world where idols are trained to suppress emotion, conceal weakness, and maintain an image, this statement feels like a quiet form of courage. Not loud, not confrontational, but strong enough to shake long-held assumptions. Even more surprising, Jungkook then spoke about what he truly considers important on stage. He admitted that he does not overly concern himself with facial expressions, outfits, or other visual details, not because he dismisses them, but because he is aware of his own limitations. He is not the type who excels at doing many things at once, so he chooses to shut out those distractions and focus on just two things: singing and dancing. Within the simplicity of that statement lies a performance philosophy rarely articulated openly by an idol of Jungkook's stature, when he said that even if his face is not perfect, it is the real face of his singing. There was something almost intimate about it. That sentence quickly became the most shared, analyzed, and celebrated quote. For some, it was an expression of humility. For others, it sounded like an implicit critique of an industry that has long prioritized visuals over substance. And for ARMY, it was a moment when Jungkook felt closer, more real, more human. The interview video itself reinforced that impression. Jungkook sat casually on a black sofa, wearing a black leather jacket and gray pants, with ear and lip piercings that have become hallmarks of his edgy style. There was no excessive set design, no camera dramatization. The Rolling Stone Japan logo overlay added a professional touch, but the essence of the video remained simple. He was not performing, he was speaking, and perhaps that is where its power truly lay. Fan reactions arrived like an emotional wave. Comments poured in, not only praising Jungkook but also re-examining what it means to be an artist. One widely shared comment said that those who call themselves artists should genuinely take his advice to heart. Another pointed out the sweet irony of Jungkook's remark about an imperfect face, because for fans, That is precisely where his perfection lies. Beneath the praise, however, was something deeper, a sense of connection. This interview came at a highly significant moment. Jungkook had just returned to the public spotlight following BTS's military hiatus, a period that tested not only fans' patience but also reshaped the dynamics of the K-pop industry. During that hiatus, Jungkook released his solo album Golden in 2023, a project that showcased his musical exploration beyond the group identity, blending pop, R&B, and rock elements. The album was a massive success, solidifying his position as a global solo artist. And yet, after achieving something of that magnitude, Jungkook chose to speak about nervousness, imperfection, and a focus on quality. In a context where BTS has a massive and deeply emotional fanbase, this interview was met with near-religious enthusiasm. Social media was flooded with translations, analyses, and long discussions. Many hoped that Rolling Stone Japan would soon release the full interview officially, perhaps with exclusive photos or hints of Jungkook's upcoming projects. But beneath that anticipation lay a feeling that was hard to ignore, that we had just witnessed something rare in the idol world, a moment of honesty that was not polished. Was this merely an ordinary interview, or a turning point in how Jungkook, and perhaps BTS, position themselves after returning from hiatus? Will this acknowledgement of nervousness and imperfection change how fans, critics, and the industry view performance itself? These questions have no definitive answers yet. But one thing is clear. Rolling Stone Japan did not merely capture Jungkook's words. It captured a subtle transition, from an idol chasing perfection to an artist brave enough to acknowledge his humanity. If the public has long been taught to believe that a great idol is born from flawless discipline and almost mechanical emotional control, then Jungkook's confession in this Rolling Stone Japan interview feels like a small disruption that ends up throwing the entire system into disarray. Not because he said something explicitly controversial, but because he said something too honest, too human, and perhaps too dangerous for an industry that has survived for decades on the illusion of perfection. In the history of K-pop, nervousness has often been treated as a weakness to be conquered, not embraced. It is something meant to be hidden behind practiced smiles, precise choreography, and the narrative of being ready to perform at any moment. Jungkook, however, does not position nervousness as an enemy. He does not speak about defeating it, but about acknowledging it and coexisting with it. He chooses to enjoy the stage, even when there is a possibility of a cracked note or a misstep. This is where the most subtle yet sharp shift in meaning lies. His statement seems to invite the public to ask again, since when did mistakes become something intolerable in performance art? And who actually benefits when standards of perfection are turned into unwritten laws for idols? In this context, Jungkook is not attacking the industry. He names no one points to no system. Yet precisely because of that, his words feel stronger. He does not rebel with shouts but with posture. When Jungkook says that he focuses only on singing and dancing, there is an implicit message that is hard to ignore. He rejects forced multitasking. He rejects the demand to be everything at once. In the modern K-pop world, an idol is expected not only to sing and dance, but also to be a model, an actor of facial expressions, a fashion icon, and a visual object always ready to be captured by the camera from any angle. Jungkook calmly chooses to shut all of that out, not because he is incapable, but because he wants to give his best to the core of the performance. At this point, the Rolling Stone Japan interview begins to feel like more than just a conversation about stage preparation. It becomes a philosophical reflection on art itself. What are audiences really looking for when they come to a concert? Visual perfection, or the quality of the experience? Jungkook clearly places himself on the latter side. People come to see a performance, he says, and quality is what matters most. As a performer and a singer, that is the priority. The sentence sounds simple, yet behind it lies a long-standing tension between art and industry. For years, K-pop has been praised for its high level of professionalism, but also criticized for standards that are often inhumane. This interview does not instantly erase those criticisms, but it adds one important voice from within the system itself, a voice of an idol who has reached the top, who is no longer speaking from a position of chasing validation, but from experience. Interestingly, fan reactions show that this honesty actually strengthens the emotional bond. Rather than feeling disappointed that their idol is not perfect, ARMY feels closer. The comments flooding social media are not mere empty praise, but reflections of empathy. Many feel that Jungkook's words represent their own feelings about pressure, about the fear of making mistakes, and about the desire to continue enjoying what they do. This is where the interview goes beyond fandom. It is no longer just about Jungkook as a member of BTS, but about Jungkook as a public figure who indirectly speaks to a generation living under performance pressure, a generation accustomed to being judged, compared, and measured. In this context, Jungkook's confession becomes a kind of emotional validation, that being nervous does not cancel one's worth, that imperfection does not erase quality. However, there is another layer that makes this interview even more interesting, and even problematic for some observers. Jungkook is one of the most influential idols in the world. Whatever he says, consciously or not, will be interpreted as a new standard. When he says that he does not care too much about appearance and expression, does this create space for other idols to breathe? Or does it instead create new pressure to be honest in the same way? This question hangs in the air without a definitive answer. Rolling Stone Japan, as a media outlet, seems aware of the weight of this moment. The calm presentation of the interview, without excessive sensationalism, gives Jungkook's words room to stand on their own. There is no narrative forcing readers to see him as a hero or a rebel. What exists is simply an artist speaking about what he believes. And perhaps that is the greatest surprise of all, that honesty does not always require dramatization. Amid all of this, the timing is crucial. Jungkook is speaking after going through a major transition, both personally and professionally. BTS's military hiatus was not merely a career pause, but also a period of reflection. His solo album Golden showcased Jungkook's exploratory side as a musician, while this interview reveals his reflective side as a performer. These two sides complement each other, forming a more complete picture of who Jungkook is today. For fans in Indonesia, this interview carries particular resonance. In a country with a large and diverse ARMY base, stories of hard work, humility, and a focus on quality always find their place. Many see Jungkook not only as an idol, but as an inspirational figure relevant to everyday life. The emotional reactions that emerged were not momentary hysteria, but extended discussions about the meaning of art, pressure, and authenticity. Yet the most intriguing question arises behind all the praise. Is this the same Jungkook as before, or are we witnessing a deeper evolution? Is this acknowledgement of nervousness and imperfection merely a reflective moment, or a signal of a shift in how Jungkook views his role as a global idol? If the K-pop industry has long been built on image control, what does it mean when one of its biggest stars begins to speak about letting go of that control? The Rolling Stone Japan interview does not provide direct answers. Instead, it opens space for speculation, interpretation, and discussion. And perhaps that is its strength. It does not force conclusions but invites readers to think. In the midst of the noise of the entertainment industry, moments like this feel rare. A pause, a breath, before the story moves on to the next chapter that we do not yet fully know. When honesty is finally spoken in the public sphere, its impact never stops at that moment alone. It moves, echoes, and gradually changes the way people reread every gesture, every decision, even every silence that follows. Jungkook's interview with Rolling Stone Japan, which at first appeared simple and reflective, has begun to be reread as a signal, not a loud one, but a subtle hint about a new direction he may be heading toward, both as an individual and as part of BTS. The question that now arises is no longer whether Jungkook is nervous before stepping on stage, but why he chose to say it now. Timing always carries meaning, and this honesty comes after a highly defining phase in BTS's journey. The military hiatus, solo explorations, and the group's return to the center of global conversation. In this context, Jungkook's statement feels like the emotional foundation of the next phase, an acknowledgement that seems to say that whatever comes next, he wants to go through it in a more honest way. Many observers have begun to speculate that post-hiatus BTS will not return with the same approach, not in terms of quality but in how they present themselves. Jungkook, as one of the most closely watched figures, may be opening the path to a more human narrative. If BTS was previously known as a symbol of resilience, discipline, and relentless hard work, then going forward they may also be known as a group willing to speak about doubt, limits, and personal choices. For fans, this shift does not feel frightening. On the contrary, it feels liberating. Jungkook's honesty does not dismantle his image, it deepens it. He is no longer seen only as the all-capable golden magne, but as an artist who is aware of himself. In an entertainment world that often demands certainty, this self-awareness feels like a luxury. Yet the impact of this interview also reaches further, toward the industry itself. When an idol with Jungkook's level of influence talks about shutting out distractions and focusing on quality, he indirectly challenges a system that often piles excessive burdens onto young artists. Will this change industry practices in any tangible way? Perhaps not in the near future. But every major change always begins with a small conversation that cannot be ignored. In Indonesia and other countries with strong army bases, this interview has become a source of collective reflection. It is shared, translated, and discussed not merely as entertainment news, but as a story about the courage to be oneself amid immense expectations. And perhaps that is the greatest surprise of this Rolling Stone Japan interview, that behind all the achievements, Jungkook chose to remind the world of something often forgotten, that the most powerful art is often born not from perfection, but from honesty. Now, when the cameras are turned off and the interview has ended, one question remains in the public's mind. After all this has been revealed, what is Jungkook's next step? Will this honesty be reflected in his music, on stage, or in the way BTS interacts with the world? The answer does not yet exist. But one thing is certain. Since this interview, we no longer see Jungkook in the same way. And perhaps that is the most tangible change of all.